Hi, everybody. My name is Micah Stickel. I'm a professor in the teaching stream in electrical and computer engineering, and currently the acting vice provost students for U of T, and been in this role now for the past 6 months. And so very glad to be here with you all today. And I had a few closing remarks to add, and then I'll turn it over to Kim to close out the day. So really wanted to thank all of you for your participation in this, our second annual Access Connections Day. Certainly an event that I imagine will continue on into the future, but is gaining some great steam. And as has been noted in the chat by my colleague, we feel like we need about 10 more hours. So there's lots more to discuss, but I think the conversation has just been so enriching today. I'm really glad to be able to make some final remarks here and just to acknowledge how inspiring and engaging this day has been. So I really thank all of the speakers and participants. Thank you for your openness, your honesty, for sharing your thoughts and expertise with us. Really, we're all better for this. And as many have noted, filled with renewed enthusiasm and spurred on to advance this work at this critical time. Beginning with the opening keynote, and with, it seems a while ago, given all that has happened and all that has been shared, but really appreciate Dr. Munde-Gala's opening keynotes, really set the tone for the day, shining a clear spotlight on how essential access work is, how the connection to our community is the core of these efforts and really drives this work forward. And I think making it very clear how systemic change is essential in this effort, making it clear we need to acknowledge such ways in which our systems have oppressed and collectively act to engage them. So thank you very much, Dr. Gala, for generously sharing your time with us today. I want to also thank our panelists who share deep insights into their experiences as participants and alumni of access programs, as community partners in this work, and as adaptable change makers who, in the face of the hardships of the pandemic, pivoted their programming to meet the needs of their students. We thank you very much for sharing your time with us today and for your unwavering commitment to this work. Your stories are both inspiring and sobering as they reflect on those stories we cannot hear, but for whom we know are limited in opportunity. And this reminds us of the significant work in front of us. Over the last 6 months in my role as acting vice provost students, I've had the pleasure of working on a plan to enhance institutional supports for access. I came to this work with an understanding of access and outreach from my previous experience working directly with Don Britton and the incredible team in the Engineering Outreach Office at U of T, as I was a former Vice Dean for the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering. It has been a privilege to see firsthand just how much of this work is being done across the university, spanning all 3 campuses, across numerous faculties and programs, and now with over 100 access and outreach programs in place at U of T, and many of those by you all and the participants and supports here, I can truly say what you are doing is making a difference. And I've been able to see this now directly through these recent months. I also acknowledge the reality is that this is hard work. This work demands time, attention, thoughtfulness. It calls for relationship building, and it also demands resources, which we know can certainly be hard to secure, leverage, or even find at times. So in acknowledgement of that, and in building on the announcement that Provost Reguer shared with you all this morning, we are very excited to now have $1 million in base funding set aside to further support this work at U of T. This funding will support tri-campus access initiatives. These newly created positions, part of a team connected with the Provost's office, will support outreach and access work and work alongside you, our access partners, to elevate the great work that is already being done, to secure additional resources, to support access programs with planning, data collection, and research efforts, and most importantly, to build and nurture relationships with each other and our community partners. We see this as an opportunity to connect and learn from one another. As has been noted, this day has been so wonderful to facilitate that, and really to be able to share and our knowledge and build a broader community of practice. And most importantly, at the heart of all of this is to continue to support our students with a focus on students from underrepresented communities, to create pathways to higher education, and to create supportive communities for these students when they arrive. And to quote Lydia Gill, access with retention, engagement with the opportunity to thrive and flourish. The support for students, through these access and outreach programs and opportunities, and once there are students here, is just so critical to this work. We'll continue to share updates with you as these plans roll out. We hope to move forward quickly and anticipate having the first stage of the support in place later this spring, which is very exciting, I think, for all of us involved. It is critically important that I name and identify two individuals. I've had the pleasure of working closely with them over these recent months, getting to know them a little bit more, but also gaining a greater appreciation for their incredible in this area. Ann Lopez, Kimberley Tull. Ann and Kimberley are the drivers behind this work and are the reason we are able to share this news with you today. I really thank them for their tireless dedication over these last 4 years in pushing forward this access portfolio, and congratulate them on this achievement and on today's event as well. On that note, and just before I pass it over to Kimberley to close out today's event, I want to thank the organizing committee for Access Connections Day. This event truly a tri-campus effort, and we are so thankful to have such a motivated team leading this work. Alongside Ann and Kimberley, I would like to thank Nancy Bacher, the primary coordinator of Connections Day, and you all have received messages and support material from her. Thank you so much, Nancy, for all your efforts to pull this day together and for coordinating the additional logistics brought on by our move to a virtual space for this year. Really, you've done an incredible job. This has been such a wonderful day. Additionally, I'd like to thank Dawn Britton, Michelle Coutinho, Eleonora Dimitrova, Lydia Gill, Lance McCready, Jesse Metcalf, Jessica Silver, and Brenda Wastiskut. So really appreciate all of your efforts and the many hours of commitment that you've made to bring this day together. Also want to acknowledge and thank Heart House Events team for really providing exceptional support for today's virtual event. Thank you so much for that effort. One last thing I just wanted to share as a final reminder, applications for the Access Programs University Fund are now open, and the Expand, Sustain, Build applications have a deadline set for April 30th. We continue to accept seed applications on an ongoing basis, and so please consider applying. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. So with that, thank you all once again for your wonderful participation, your energy, your effort, your commitment to this work. And I'll turn it over to Kimberley Tull to say a final few words.
Hi, everyone. I'm overwhelmed. What an amazing day. I feel full. You know, after you eat a full meal and you need to lay down and digest, that's exactly how I feel about today. And I'm looking forward to having those moments of reflection. Whenever you're trying to plan these kinds of initiatives, you have no clue if it's going to work out, and then you layer a pandemic on top of it, and it brings another level of complexity. It's always so difficult to create space and community in a virtual setting. Our intent for today was to find a way to create spaces for more intimate conversations and an opportunity for us to connect with each other. Human connection, which has been a daunting effort to sustain during this pandemic. Yet on so many fronts, such a necessary time to be supported by community, by people, especially for those who hold multiple identities while doing this work, living it and doing it. It's definitely not easy, but it's definitely appreciated. We hope that you were able to realize that intent and that you were able to find some connection today. We want to thank you for joining us. I see Ann is on camera with me too, which is great. Thank Thank you to the Provost, Cheryl Reguer, Acting Vice Provost Micah Stickel, and Vice Provost Sandy Welch for supporting this journey and this work over the past 4 years and the exciting announcements that we've heard about base funding and access positions that will be supporting all the work that you're doing, both within the university and outside of the university. But I would be remiss, and I know Anne will agree with me, I could hear her, even though she's on mute, I can hear her say this, that it's really all of you who've been doing the work. It was your advocacy, your support, your ideas, your labor, your voice that helped to shape and inform this direction. So thank you for your tireless work that you engage in. This is a lot of labor, both emotional and physical, and we both see you, we hear you, and we honor you, and thank you. Thank you to Dr. Monday Gala, who started us off right this morning and grounded us for the day and has left us with much to consider. Our panelists, who were absolutely phenomenal and so generous with their time, insights, and honesty. Thank you for being so vulnerable in this space. Professor Ann Lopez, who has been serving as a provostial advisor for the past 4 years, who I've had the honor of working with. She is my sister warrior in this work. She's a counsel, an advocate, I think for many, a cheerleader. She brings in that good energy, even we're dealing with hard things. And just thank you for your honesty, because there's one thing Ann Lopez is going to be is honest, and it's honesty with love, and I appreciate that. So we're so grateful to be along this journey with you and look forward to continuing that. And to our Access Connections Day committee member teams, Micah and Ann both named you, so I won't do that and for the sake of time, but thank you for your counsel, guidance, willingness to take on this extra work on top of your already busy schedules. And you all have seen them throughout the day, top to bottom, moderating, facilitating workshops, just doing a lot of work behind the scenes as well, so thank you. And a special shout out to Nancy Bacher, who has been working diligently alongside Heart House Events to make sure that this event went off without a glitch. Everyone's been well communicated and supported, and just it's a lot of work that goes into something like this. So we thank you, Nancy, and we see you. And the silent workers of today behind the scenes is that we have 20 student volunteer note takers who have given their day to be with us. And so thank you. They're diligently writing up the breakout room session notes, and we will be able to compile that to help also use as data to inform the next direction of Access Connections Day, as well as the Access Priority. So some of my takeaways from today: agency, advocacy, responsibility, community. We often talk about developing civically responsible students, but I think today reminded us that we need to start with ourselves, our organizations, our programs, our structures, that we need to be responsive, humble, and civically responsible. The same way that structures and institutions were systematically built with intent and purpose to exclude, we need to have that same intent and purpose to systematically dismantle and rebuild in a good way. And that's really what Access work is about. In panel 1, we heard, and I'm just going to give some quick takeaways from each panel. Students, know who you are, know your values, find your support, your community, do not be discouraged. Embrace self-determination by defining what success means for you. Celebrate the small pieces in your journey, and just know that you belong here. You worked hard and you absolutely belong here. For panel 2, we focus on community, trust building, and relationship building, and students having supports to be able to navigate the different structures in secondary school and post-secondary school, something I don't know if we often think about in a really mindful and purposeful way. And then also highlighting that and recognizing that students require different levels of support based on abilities, and we need to create spaces for that. And one way to do that is by developing peer-to-peer relationship building. And in panel 3, it was really focused on the importance of having an intersectional lens to the work, faculty development training and the role of faculty. I love this part about having conversations with students. It seems like such a simple thing, but having conversations with students to identify what the priorities are for them and how they would like to be supported. And then Eleonora said, how do we come out stronger, adapt, learn, grow? And that it's about communication, passions, and patience, the lovely word of 2020 and 2021, pivoting, and then how do you do this in a virtual setting and still build those social connections while social distancing? So my call to action for today is that Access work is about being honest. It's being actively deliberate in our decisions and actions, and it's about challenging ourselves. So I ask that we bring a critical equity lens, an anti-oppressive, anti-racist, anti-colonial lens to all aspects of a student's journey, education journey, and to our work. So let our collective energy and effort to support, advocate, and advance people through their education journey not only be about removing the barriers, but also supporting dreams and potential. Most importantly, access work should center the student's position and voice, and most definitely provide a space for them to realize possibilities. And with that being said, we will continue to do our best to make sure that we connect throughout the year. So it's not just the Access Connections Day, that we will continue to find different ways to build on this community of practice that we've created. We will also share the recordings of the keynote and the panel, so look for that. And you'll see an email from Nancy with a post-event survey that we ask you kindly to participate in, as it helps to inform our strategic direction of the Access Priority and the Access Connections Day at U of T. I'm not going to take up much more of your time, but thank you for making time and space to join us today. We hope that you enjoyed it and found the learnings fruitful and feel rejuvenated. And I truly hope when we can do this again together, but this time in the same room, face to face with that human connection. Until then, stay safe, stay well, and walk good. Thank you all.